Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 2.3 in our authoritarian leaders unit, and in this particular lesson we are going to start the consolidation of power for Adolf Hitler. So this is the first part of that. So by the end of today's lesson, students should be able to do the following. You should be able to describe the Reichstag fire and how it helped Hitler come to power. You should be able to explain how the Enabling Act helped establish the Nazi regime. And lastly, you should be able to explain the Night of the Long Knives and how the death of Hindenburg brought about Nazis coming into power. So when we left off in lesson 2.2, Hitler had just become the Chancellor of Germany. So Hitler has just gotten into power. And so shortly after Hitler is appointed, the Reichstag fire is going to occur on February 27th, 1934. And here's a picture of the German Reichstag, in flames. And actually this building is still, standing today. So that building is currently the German Parliament building today. But it happened on February 27th, 1934. And the story goes, this gentleman here that is pictured here, this is Marinus, or Marinus if you want to call him that, Marinus van der Lubbe. He was a Dutch communist, and he was actually accused of setting this fire. So first of all, the communists are blamed. So the communists are blamed, and so as a result, Marinus is going to be tried, convicted, and executed. So he is going to be executed for his alleged role in the Reichstag fire. Now, Nazis used this as an opportunity to remove communists as a source of opposition. So since they blamed the communists, then people started looking at the communists in a different light and saying, wow, these people really are shady and we don't want them to be part of the government. So since the Nazis started turning their backs on the communists, then the German people started doing the same. So Hitler persuaded von Hindenburg to suspend civil liberties. Since the Reichstag had burned down, Hitler, as the chancellor, went to President Hindenburg and said, hey, you need to suspend civil liberties because the country's going all crazy and cattywampus and everything like that. So as a result, Hindenburg suspended civil liberties, which gave Adolf Hitler the ability to round up communists and also beginning to ban communist groups in Germany. So suspension of civil liberties as a result of the Reichstag fire is what helped bring about suppression of communists and other groups that opposed Nazis. So let's take a look now at the Enabling Act. Now, in order for us to do that, we need to go back a year prior to a year before the Reichstag fire. So in March of 1933, there was an election held in Germany, and you can see the results right here. So if you'll see right here, this is the results of the March of 1933 election in Germany. And if you notice up here at the top is the National Socialist or Nazi Party, and they had 288 seats. Well, they fell 36 seats short of having an outright majority in Parliament, so they had to form a coalition government with the German National People's Party, or the DNVP. And so if you add the 288 and the 52 seats here, then they will get over a majority of seats. So therefore, this coalition government of the Nazis and the German National People's Party, they came together to help Hitler pass the Enabling Act in 1933. And what the Enabling Act did was that it effectively allows Hitler to pass laws without consulting the Reichstag, without even going to Parliament. So Enabling Act basically enables Adolf Hitler to be able to pass any laws that he feels is necessary without even going to the Reichstag and asking for permission. As a result, this allows for the idea of Nazification to occur around the entire country. What this means is that Adolf Hitler is going to ban trade unions. He's going to politically consolidate. What this means is that he will change the borders within Germany. So state borders within Germany, he would just arbitrarily change them. He also removed Jews from any government job, and he also started controlling churches, regulating what pastors would say at the pulpit, regulating what other churches could do and say in terms of the Nazi regime. He even went a step further in going up against the power of the Roman Catholic Church. The Nazi government is going to sign something called the Reich Concordat. That's what that term is right there. It's called the Reich Concordat. And what this was an agreement with the Catholic Church. And basically the Catholic Church told Nazi Germany, we will look the other way. Okay, so we have our eyes here. We will look the other way. We will not do anything in terms of if we will leave you alone, if you will leave our churches alone. So the Reich Concordat basically did that. The Catholic Church turned its back on all the issues that were going on in Germany, and if Germany and the Nazis promised to leave Catholic churches and Catholic people alone. And so that's what this agreement was between the Nazi government and the Vatican in 1933. So to put ourselves back in our timeline, we have in March of 1933, we have Adolf Hitler he falls just short of 36 seats of gaining a majority, but he's able to have the Enabling Act passed. In February of 1934 is when the Reichstag is going to burn down. And so now we're back into picking up here. We're now at the Night of the Long Knives. So this is going to happen in June 30th to around July 2nd of 1934. So this is a few short months after the Reichstag fire. And what this particular event was, this is where sources of opposition were purged from the Nazi Party. So this is where the Nazi Party actually turned on its own people. And so Hitler started looking within the Nazi Party and looking for people who were questioning him in any capacity. It didn't matter if it was slightly or if it was a lot. If you questioned Hitler, then you were probably on the chopping block. So in essence, the Night of the Long Knives is the Nazis purging themselves of political opponents from among themselves. Some high-ranking Nazi officials were executed. Ernst Röhm, the head of the SA, he was executed. They executed the former German Chancellor, Kurt von Schleicher. So he was the guy that was part of the Weimar Republic. He was critical against the Nazis, and he was critical of them shutting down political discussion, and so they executed him. So this is basically the former president, almost, of Germany that was executed. And so this event signified that it proved to the German people the lengths that Hitler would go to secure power. Because if he's willing to turn on his own people, then he's willing to turn on the German people as well. And so this showed the German people that he meant business. And of course, here's a British cartoon that kind of illustrates that. They salute with both hands now. Just kind of look at that. It's kind of playing, trying to make light of something that was very, very serious. And lastly, the final event in all of this consolidation of power, at least at this part, is the death of President Hindenburg. And this came at the worst possible time. On August 2nd, 1934, so this was just a couple of months after the Night of the Long Knives, so we've had Hitler has gotten into power in 33, the Reichstag fires in 34, then the Night of the Long Knives happened later in 34 in June and July, and now we have August, Hindenburg is dead. So all of those events are boom, 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 boom. So Hindenburg dies. He was the only person that was really standing in the way of Adolf Hitler, because people still respected this man because he was a leftover German legacy from World War I and the Franco-Prussian Wars. He was like a national hero. When he passed away, that roadblock disappeared. Adolf Hitler, now as the Chancellor, he merges the office of Chancellor and President into one entity, and he is now known as the Führer, or the leader. So Führer means leader, and so he is now the leader of the Third Reich, or the German government. That's what they call themselves, the Third Reich. And so, as a result of Hindenburg's passing, the army swore complete and total loyalty to Adolf Hitler. Notice I said the army devoted its loyalty to Adolf Hitler. They did not devote their loyalty to Germany. That's a difference. Okay, so they owed their loyalty to a person, not a country. It was important to have the military support in the consolidation of power, because if you have the military support, then you can order them to suppress your people if that's the case. You need the military to maintain power. You have to have it. And so this is a good thing for Hitler. Okay, it's not a good thing for world events, but it is a good thing for Hitler. And it should be noted, though, other than murders of fellow party members and the Night of the Long Knives, nothing Hitler did to achieve power was illegal or unconstitutional. That's me. That's literally me going, huh? Exactly. This is one thing that most people seem to forget and not realize about Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler came to power absolutely legally. Okay, everything he did was legal. I mean, the Reichstag gave him the Enabling Act. He ran, his party won, he created a coalition. That coalition gave him the Enabling Act. He was able to do all of these things. So other than just the murder of people in his party, other than that, everything else he's done is completely legal according to German law at the time. All right, and so that is the first part of our consolidation of power. So we have two other parts coming out with that. But this part of the lesson has concluded. So, can you describe the Reichstag fire and how it helped Hitler come to power? Can you explain how the Enabling Act helped establish the Nazi regime? And can you explain how the Night of the Long Knives and how the death of Hindenburg brought about Nazis to power? If you can, pat yourself on the back. You're doing an awesome job. At this point, look to see if there's any activities for lesson 2.3, and if so, please complete them. And if not, move on to lesson 2.4. Thanks so much for your time and have a wonderful day.